Health Minister of the national capital is concerned. The Delhi Health Minister Satyendar Jain is now in ED net. He's been arrested in a hawala transaction case which is linked to Kolkata-based company. The Enforcement Directorate also raided the minister just last month and attached assets worth 4.81 crores. Now, the attached assets belonged to the family members and companies beneficially owned and controlled by Jain. The ED case against the minister stems from an FIR filed by the CBI in 2017 in connection with disproportionate assets case. The ED, in its probe, found that in 2015-16, Jain received accommodation entries to the tune of 4.8 crore rupees from shell companies. These entries were allegedly made against cash transferred to Kolkata-based entry operators through the hawala route. This amount was then allegedly used to purchase property and repay the loan taken for purchase of agricultural land in and around Delhi. Politics, of course, has meanwhile broken out on this issue. While AAP has alleged a witch hunt, the BJP has called it due process.
7 बार वो ईडी के सामने पेश हो चुके थे। 7 बार। कभी ईडी को उनकी गिरफ्तारी की जरूरत महसूस नहीं हुई, कभी उनकी गिरफ्तारी नहीं की गई और इसी मामले से जोड़कर सीबीआई ने एक मामला दर्ज किया था जिसमें सीबीआई ने कहा कि उनके पास कोई साक्ष्य नहीं। सत्येंद्र जैन को क्लीन चिट दिया, लेकिन जैसे ही सत्येंद्र जैन हिमाचल प्रदेश के इंचार्ज बनाए जाते हैं, वैसे ही भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पेट में दर्द शुरू हो जाता है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी हिमाचल प्रदेश में चुनाव हार रही है और इसी के कारण से सत्येंद्र जैन की एक फर्जी बेबुनियाद मामले में गिरफ्तारी की गई है।
पिछले 7 सालों में जब सत्येंद्र जैन के खिलाफ भ्रष्टाचार के आरोप आए सामने, तथ्य आए सामने, तब अरविंद केजरीवाल ने सामने आकर सत्येंद्र जैन को बार बार क्लीन चिट दी, क्योंकि इस करप्शन में केजरीवाल खुद शामिल हैं। और मुझे लगता है कि आज सत्येंद्र जैन की गिरफ्तारी के बाद हवाला, काला धन, ब्लैक मनी, मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग, बेनामी कंपनियां, वो सभी चीज जो मैं बार बार पिछले 5 साल से कह रहा था, वो सामने आने के बाद अरविंद केजरीवाल को मुख्यमंत्री की कुर्सी पर बैठने का कोई हक नहीं है। उनको तुरंत इस्तीफा देना चाहिए।
Breaking news coming in. Sources within the agency are revealing the case against the Delhi minister and the course of investigation that the ED is following. The ED case is a CBI case offshoot and it pertains to the transactions from 2015 and 17. Now, Bhavtosh Singh is joining us with more details of what has been found by the investigators. Let's quickly go across to him and try and get in details. Bhavtosh, take us through what exactly is the ED saying as far as the findings are concerned. Does the ED believe that it has a watertight case?
Well, ED believes so, and that is the reason why they have arrested Satyendar Jain. Remember, it's a case which goes back to around 5 years when CBI had registered a case. CBI, in fact, took cognizance of the prosecution complaint that was filed by the Income Tax Department. Now, ED's investigation went beyond that. They have said that around over 4 crore rupees accommodation entry was made into shell companies that directly or indirectly controlled by Jain's family. Now, they have said that cash entries were made by hawala operators into these shell companies. Now, what happens next is very interesting. What, according to ED, these shell companies, they were then used to purchase land in Delhi, in and around Delhi, and also to pay loans on companies which purchase these land. Now, this was all, in fact, brought to notice first by the Income Tax Department, then subsequently by CBI. Now, CBI has said that the DA case was of around 1.47 crore rupees, and then ED has said that money laundering case is worth around 4.18 crore rupees. Now, in fact, ED in April had attached immovable assets worth at least 4 crore rupees of Jain's family. At that point of time, also, AAP had said that it's a politically motivated case, but ED has said that they had carried out an investigation over a period of 5 years, and subsequent to that, they had called in Satyendar Jain for questioning. Satyendar Jain could not make them understand, or could not fail to make them understand about the source of money. More importantly, Madhav, they have also said that some amount of the money could have been transferred for political purpose. They are still investigating that.
All right.
And tomorrow, Satyendar Jain will be produced before the court.
That's an important charge, certainly, of course. Let me quickly get in a word from Aishwarya, who's been reporting from the ED headquarters as well. Aishwarya, very quickly, take us through what's happening there. Is Satyendar Jain inside? And what are the ED sources telling you as far as what the next course of action is? When is he likely to be presented in a court?
Well, what we are learning is that the Enforcement Directorate has arrested him at around 11:30. He was called for normal questioning because he was raided several times at his office and his residence as well. And pertaining to this case, he was again called at around 11:30, and later he was informed after the due procedure of the Enforcement Directorate that he is arrested in the ongoing case of money laundering, which was registered back in 2015-16, and also this particular case which was initiated by the Enforcement Directorate pertaining to the Prevention of Corruption Act and the income tax, which was registered by CBI back in 2017. And now several staff members of
all right, so what will this investigation lead to? Will the ED be able to prove the charges that have in fact been alleged? Those are some very important questions. Ashwar and Bhavtosh, thanks for joining us. Let's quickly go back to our guests who are joining us. Shehzad Purawala, Nishkar and Matari continue to be with us, but joining us on the show is Dr. Akashdeep Muni. And I first want to go across to Ravi Srivastava. Ravi Srivastava, very, very serious allegations. It's a 5-year-long investigation. Mr. Jain has been questioned several times. There's a 4 crore accommodation entry, hawala operators, land being purchased, disproportionate assets of over 1.47 crores. The list of charges appears to be quite long as far as the ED and Mr. Jain is concerned.
Madhav, this case, in fact, is older than that. It is going on for last 7 or 8 years. And in between, the CBI had done the complete investigation and given the clean chit to Mr. Satyendar Jain. Now, this time it appears to be an absolute political vendetta because the BJP is losing ground in Himachal Pradesh. Satyendar Jain was in charge for the election in Himachal Pradesh, and that's the reason that the government has taken, because they are the controlling authority for the ED, IT, CBI. They are misusing them against the political leaders across the country in several states. So there is nothing new, and they have done it. But this is a totally a fake case, and I think Satyendar Jain will come out out of it. I distinctly remember that
Shehzad, it's a politically motivated case. Mr. Jain is being targeted because he is in charge of Himachal for the Aam Aadmi Party. Therefore, it is politically motivated, happening ahead of elections. Please respond to that.
Madhav, I hope I won't be interrupted. Let's assume that what Ravi Srivastava is saying. Can I speak?
Go ahead,
please. Thank you. Let's assume that Ravi Srivastava, whatever he said about the CBI giving a clean chit is correct. In April, ED attached about 4.81 crores of Mr. Jain's properties in connection with this case. In the last 7 years, or in this particular instance, can Mr. Srivastava, in his own time, show me where Mr. Jain used that CBI clean chit, hired a good lawyer, perhaps a good lawyer that he could go and argue his case, and said that, look, I am being harassed, victimized, why is my property being attached? Has he done it in the last 7 years or in the last 1 month? Point number one. Point number two, Mr. Kumar Vishwas, who wasn't on bad terms with Kejriwal at that point of time, has spoken about this being discussed in the PAC. So clearly this was not an act of political vendetta, but this was a serious case that they discussed it in the PAC, and at that time too, Mr. Kejriwal seemed to be defending Mr. Jain, thereby raising a question that Mr. Kejriwal, who says that he is the most imandar person in this world, why is he today, when prima facie a major allegation has been made, not sacking this minister? If tomorrow Mr. Jain is proven to be innocent, he can come back. And point number three, this is not the first instance. Madhav, the Delhi Jal Board scam of 26,000 crores where they are not submitting their audit accounts to the High Court or to the CAG.
Okay.
The bus scam. The scam that they have done in terms of not appointing the Lokpal. The Lokayukt was not appointed for 2 years because they have the large number of cases against their MLAs and MPs. These are all scams that are taking place under Mr. Kejriwal's nose.
Okay.
They have a health minister whom they sacked yesterday in Punjab, and today the health minister in Delhi. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Okay. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, first. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, this is the tip of the iceberg. There are many such cases of corruption. That's the allegation coming in from the BJP. But these charges do appear to be quite serious because the ED says that they've followed due process, that at every stage of the investigation, they've called Mr. Satyendar Jain and he has not been able to explain how these transactions have happened. The fact that they've attached the assets and then gone ahead and arrested him also, at least the BJP would say, shows that the processes of law have been followed.
So, Madhav, there are 2-3 points I want to make. First of all, I am really amused by the pointless points made by Mr. Shahzad Poonawala, who had made all the points on the baseless grounds. I'll prove that in my points, which I'll be making. First and foremost, there are 34 cases registered against 34 AAP MLAs in Delhi, which has been proved false. First.
Please
There
talk
has
about
been
this
122.
case.
Now,
Have
I
you
don't interrupt.
challenged
You say that
the
you don't
attachment
interrupt, don't interrupt
order?
me. Shut up.
Did you
said
get a
that
clean
you
chit
don't
by the
interrupt
CBI? Why did
I
you
hope
not in
that
the
you will
5
be
years
going by
go
what
and get
you
this
have said.
squashed? Instead of commenting and giving a certificate to my arguments, answer the question
122
and stop your condescension.
MPs has been scapegoated by the ED as per the
Madhav, please ask him to
paper
talk about this.
submitted by
What
the
kind of logic
enforcement
is he
director in the
talking
Supreme Court.
about
This
answering about
shows
this case? He's going on to other
These
cases.
political vendetta that has been proved once,
Dr.
not
Akashdeep.
twice, many times.
Dr. Akashdeep.
It has been, yes.
Dr.
yes.
Akashji, let's stick to this particular case because we're talking about the person who has just been arrested. That's the whole reason we are debating this.
Okay,
Is there anything in this particular case
I'll
or
tell
the
you
facts that you are putting forth to counter what has been said by Mr. Poonawala?
Okay, Madhav, I'll put the facts of the case. First and foremost, 8 years, since 8 years this case is going on. You know, a number of times ED has called the health minister, Satyendar Jain, for questioning.
Did you get the proceedings squashed?
They found nothing till then. But just when
अरे तो quash करवा देते ना भाई साहब.
head of Himachal Pradesh before the elections, you know, they go for the arrest. This shows political vendetta. There's a simple place.
You have no party in Himachal. Your
Why
Pradesh
was-
Adhyaksh left.
Okay.
Please tell me why haven't you quashed this case if it was fake?
The point is that there has been, I said to you that there are 34 cases registered. If we go after cases,
Point is you didn't go to
Sir,
court
you know,
because you know it's
Mr. Muni, let me come in on that point. I think Shahzad has asked that question and there's no response coming in from Mr. Muni. But there's just one point before I go across to Ishkaran. Many would ask that why would the BJP do that? Because, you know, it's not like the Aam Aadmi Party has ever ruled in Himachal Pradesh. You know, why would the BJP go ahead and take this action? You are alleging political vendetta. You have every right to say that. But the question is that, you know, in a state like Himachal Pradesh where the AAP stakes, at least at the moment, appear to be very limited, you know, do you think that this is a commensurate action that could be taken only for such a motive?
Is it new that the central government is doing something like this? Is it new?
Okay.
Is it new that the central government is doing like this? There is 122 cases against all the opposition leaders. As per the ED records,
Ishkaran.
I don't think this is something new.
Okay. 122 cases against opposition leaders. Central agencies are being misused. Central agencies are being misused during the political processes, and this has been seen in multiple elections from Karnataka to West Bengal, and there are several such cases, Ishkaran. This is a charge that the opposition routinely makes against the central government, and thereby, I think that question deserves an answer.
Madhav, let's start with this case first and we will answer the other question also. Firstly, they say 6-7 years investigation happened. Now, if ED was to arrest, within the first 2 weeks, they will say no investigation is done. ED just got an order and ED went and arrested. Now, when ED traces the money trail and arrests, they will say they took so long to arrest. So both ways they cannot be satisfied. The only way satisfaction will come from the court. Do agencies get misused? Of course, nobody sitting here, at least no lawyer would say that agencies do not get misused, be it Congress era, be it a state government era, or be it the current era. But that is for the court to decide in each and every individual case. The same arguments were made when the ex-Home Minister of Maharashtra went to jail. The same arguments were made when Mr. Malik went to jail. The courts did not give relief. So, of course, the court found that there was a case made out. In this case also, they should be patient. They have excellent legal teams. If the ED has a good case, it will be difficult to get bail. If ED doesn't have a good case, the man will get bail soon. So let us wait for that and then we can comment whether the due process was done or not. But only prima facie, I would say that ED attached the properties. That order can always be challenged in court and get set aside by the tribunal if the attachment is wrong. That, as far as I know, hasn't happened yet. So that strengthens the ED's case.
Okay. The fact that the court has, the attachment order has not been challenged, the fact that there's no relief received as far as that is concerned, Ravi Srivastava, and you heard the arguments that Shehzad was making vis-a-vis Mr. Muni, where he said very clearly that, why was the entire proceeding not quashed? If this is indeed a case of harassment, and as you have said, it's all going on for 7, 8, 5, however many years, the question is that more relief could have been sought from the courts.
No, you are right, but the fact is that what the statistics has been given, that to harass the process of the law, that's the purpose. Put the person behind the bar, malign him, put his reputation at stake, and then he gets the bail, he comes out. So this is the process being followed. This is what is being done. And this is what happening practically everywhere. Okay, 1 or 2 cases are still hanging on in the High Court, but that does not mean anything. That the AAP MLAs, 98% of the cases have not resulted into any conviction. So this is only a harassment.
Shehzad Punawala, the process is the punishment. The process is the punishment, and that's what the centre is deliberately doing. That's the charge coming from Ravi Srivastava. Respond to him.
Madhav, it's such a contradictory argument. If the process is the punishment, then on day one I would go to court saying that, look, I have done nothing wrong. Please quash this case and prove that the Modi government is so vindictive. But they don't do that. They say we'll face the process even though it's a punishment. And secondly, if you are so pak, swach, saaf, आज इस्तीफा दे दो, कल अगर वो साफ आ गए बाहर तो उनको मुख्यमंत्री बना दो ना। आप तो ईमानदारों के ईमानदार है, आप तो सबसे बड़े ईमानदार है। क्यों डर लग रहा है इस्तीफा लेने में? Why are you keeping a man in jail in your cabinet?
सेनेटर ने इस्तीफा दे दिया था क्या?
चीफ मिनिस्टर बनाना पड़ेगा, 34 चीफ मिनिस्टर बन जाएंगे।
Okay, all right. We'll have to leave it there for the moment, gentlemen. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. Shehzad Punawala, Ishkaran Bhandari, Ravi Srivastava, and Dr. Akashdeep Muni. With that, it's a wrap on the news hour this evening.